Hello and welcome to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe in the studios of our flagship station, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. In addition, today, as always, we're on TV on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99, in Southfield on City Cable 15, and in Birmingham in the Bloomfield area on Birmingham Area Municipal Access. You can also join us in the city of Waterford on the Media Network of Waterford on Channel 10 as well. Of course, we're on the radio, as always, on 89.3 Lakes FM. And on 88.1 The Biff, which is celebrating its 45th anniversary today. It went on the air first October 1st of 1976, and today celebrating its 45th anniversary on the air. Congratulations, of course, to everyone over there at The Biff. Pete Bowers, the original station manager, Ron Whittables, the current station manager over there, who's been on that team several times over the years, and for all their current radio staff and past alumni as well, congratulations on 45 great years of serving the Birmingham Bloomfield community over there at the Biff. We're also online, civiccentertv.com. Click on our Watch Live link to view us live, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Monday through Friday, each and every week. And on My Michigan TV or MyMy, view us at mymytv.com. That is MYMITV.com, where you can also learn more information about how you can subscribe to MyMy for free Michigan content from creators all across the state about a number of different topics that affect the Great Lakes state. And you can find out where you can download the MyMy TV app on your smartphone, on the iOS App Store and the Android App Store, and on many smart TV apps as well, such as Roku TV, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, and more. Again, that is MYMITV.com, and you can learn more about all of our partnering stations, including My Michigan TV, by just going to our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, or click on our Megacast link. And there we have a full description of what we do over here at the show every day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, as well as helpful links that will take you to the websites of our partnering television, radio, and other media stations as well. So you can learn more about their regular programming outside of the Megacast as well, and support them throughout their 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week broadcasts also. And CivicCenterTV.com's Megacast page is also where you'll find our full interviews and our full episodes on demand. Right next door to that is another very important web page, arguably the most important page on our website altogether. It's CivicCenterTV.com/coronavirus, or click on our coronavirus link on your web browser on your computer at the top of your screen on our homepage, or in the left margin of the screen if you are viewing us on your cell phone web browser. And there you have links to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's website for COVID-19. Same thing with the State of Michigan's Health and Human Services Department and the Oakland County Health Division. In addition to that, we have links to some of our local municipalities here in Oakland County and their COVID-19 web pages as well, so that if you're living in places like Bloomfield Hills that may have different regulations than West Bloomfield, or different regulations in place than Rochester, different precautions than Troy is taking, each and every one of those communities, if you're living there, you can go to our website, CivicCenterTV.com/coronavirus, and learn more about how COVID-19 is being addressed in your city, as well as places in your city that you can find vaccination sites, that you can find testing, and learn more about COVID-19 from reputable resources all across the U.S., the state of Michigan, and here in Oakland County. Resources that you can trust from experts on the front lines who have been researching this, who are medical experts and understand how COVID-19, with the information we have up until this point, how COVID-19 affects people of all different ages, and ask those questions that you need answers for about the vaccines, about testing, about precautions that you can take, which ones are effective, which ones aren't effective, how might your behaviors affect the spread of COVID-19 to other people. This is the kind of information you need to be researching from experts who have been researching this, who have made this their life over the last 18 months plus that we have been involved in this pandemic, and that COVID-19 has been prevalent here in the United States. It's also where we post our articles each and every day that we pull from local journalists all across the state of Michigan who are doing great work to help keep your community informed about COVID-19 and other top news stories as well. We highly encourage you to support your local journalists by subscribing to these publications as well. Your very affordable subscription to these publications helps support local journalism and continues to keep reporters on the front lines, holding truth to power, as well as keeping you informed and keeping you heavily informed on a number of different stories that otherwise may go by the wayside altogether. Our first article today comes from our friends over at Bridge, Michigan, as Michigan counties are beginning to dump mask rules for thousands of pupils among a budget mess. Michigan's patchwork response to the COVID-19 pandemic is rapidly fraying as a series of local health officials are rescinding school mask orders amid widespread confusion over state rules. Health departments in Berrien, Allegan, Dixon, Iron, Barry, Eaton counties rescinded mask mandates in recent days, citing the threat of funding cuts because of Republican language in a budget bill that Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed into law. Marquette, Ottawa, Washtenaw, and Kent County health departments decided this week to keep their mask mandates, while 3 others are debating whether to continue student quarantine orders within the budget that Whitmer deemed unconstitutional and unenforceable. The rescinded orders affect roughly 45,000 to 57,000 public school students, or 5 to 7% of all 787,000 students currently covered by mask mandates. 15 local health departments have issued mandates, and about 30 other school districts have enacted them as well. Whitmer sought to control the fallout Thursday by dispatching attorneys from her office to speak with local health officials who have implemented mask mandates that she supports. Quote, "Local health departments should keep their mask policies in place," and closed quote, said Governor Whitmer spokesperson Bobby Leddy in a statement. Quote, "As the governor has made clear, the budget provisions that attempt to prohibit these policies clearly violate the state constitution. The state of Michigan will continue to provide funding to local health departments that implement universal mask policies or quarantine protocols in schools to keep students safe so they can learn in person." But prior promises from Whitmer have done little to calm the nerves of health officials in areas like Allegan County, who cited the GOP threat to withholding funding as they rescinded the otherwise, quote, "effective," and closed quote, policy. The decision was, quote-unquote, "not made lightly," and, quote-unquote, "challenged us ethically, professionally, and personally," said Health Officer Angelique Joines in a statement. "But we cannot risk our essential local public health service funding," and closed quote. The squabbling comes amid increased pressure on local public health officials who, in the absence of a statewide policy, have been thrust into the middle of an increasingly political and cultural fight over mask mandates. In Kent County, a motorist attempted to run a health official off the road, and in Barry County, a health officer was subjected to an attempted citizen's arrest. "It's crazy. It's unprofessional," said Dr. Howard Markle, a former pediatrician and director of the University of Michigan's Center for the History of Medicine. He continued, quote, "I wish these people, if they pull this kind of nonsense, will just go home," and closed quote. Quote, "If I could give advice to the county health officials, be brave and please do the right thing by your constituents. And if they do try to lower your funding, rest assured you'll have many colleagues, including myself, behind you to fight tooth and nail, because that is ridiculous," and close quote. That quote, of course, as I said, from Dr. Howard Markle, the director of the University of Michigan's Center for the History of Medicine. But small departments may not be able to withstand such threats, says Marcia Mansoret, Deputy Health Administrator at the Ottawa County Department of Public Health. Though Ottawa decided to keep its school mask mandate, neighboring Allegan County did not, splitting at least one school district so that some students are masked and others don't have to be, she said. Quote, "I sympathize with them," she said, referring to both local school districts and other county health departments who felt they had to rescind their orders. Smaller departments, as she said, are, quote, "less likely to have in-house corporate counsel to guide them in these issues or defend them. They have a lot more to think about," and close quote. But it was perhaps inevitable that the pressure ultimately would lead to funding threats, said Dr. Bobby Mukamala, a Flint ear, nose, and throat doctor and chair of the American Medical Association. He said, quote, we got here because we are two competing forces. One is the force of public health to protect from illness, and the other is the force of political pressure, end close quote. There is plenty of blame to go around for the unnecessary and avoidable fiasco, said Peter Spadafore, the Deputy Executive Director of the Michigan Association of Superintendents and Administrators, or MASA. Getting this language in the budget is where it went wrong, he said. Quote, there was an overwhelming bipartisan vote in the legislature to include this language, knowing it would cause confusion, end closed quote. With multiple counties reconsidering mask mandates on Thursday, Republicans offered little clarity and declined to provide additional advice to local health officials in the lurch. Governor Whitmer is far from the first governor to declare policy provisions in the state budget unconstitutional and unenforceable. It's actually a routine practice that often goes unnoticed. Former Governor Rick Snyder, a Republican, for instance, nixed provisions that would have cut funding for public universities that offered domestic benefits to same-sex partners and prohibited the state from contracting with Planned Parenthood for non-abortion services. The Michigan Constitution requires governors to, quote, faithfully execute, end close quote, the Constitution, which means they actually have a responsibility to declare unconstitutional provisions unenforceable, said a former legal counsel to Governor Jennifer Granholm. That full article from the Bridge, Michigan magazine on our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. In some good news, our last two stories here. The America's Thanksgiving Parade in downtown Detroit is set to return. One of the biggest disappointments during the pandemic was not being able to watch the parade in person, but that will not be the case any further. On Thursday, the parade company announced that the parade will return to Woodward Avenue, and Gardner White has extended its presenting sponsorship through 2025. Quote, we are thrilled to extend our partnership with Gardner White. They are such an important part of the parade company family, said Tony Michaels, the president and CEO of the parade company. Quote, their incredible support and commitment signals a strong future for America's Thanksgiving parade, presented by Gardner White. Watching the parade is a long-standing tradition for Michigan families who come from all over the state to watch the excitement unfold along Woodward Avenue or on television at home in more than 185 markets across the country. Themed Love on Woodward, America's Thanksgiving Parade, presented by Gardner White and produced by the parade company, will be celebrating its 95th year in 2021. WDIV-TV, or Local 4, is the exclusive and long-time television partner for that broadcast. And it's not only Michiganders who love their parade. America's Thanksgiving Parade has been recognized as the best holiday parade by USA Today, both in 2018 and in 2019. As in the past, the televised version of the parade, for those who prefer to watch from home, features a one-hour syndicated national broadcast. The parade will also be featured broadcasts on Paul W. Smith's morning show on WJR 760 AM and Odyssey's WOMC FM on 104.3. Watch for more news about what will unfold along Woodward Avenue on November 25th, including floats, bands, and special editions in the coming weeks from a number of our local journalists, including those over at the Oakland Press, who wrote this article. To learn more about this year's parade as it comes back, visit theparade.org. And lastly, our final headline today, which is also on the same page that I threw away temporarily, so let me pick that right back up. After a 19-month shutdown, Detroit's Film Theater is set to reopen on October 15th with limited capacity. This is from the Detroit Free Press. The big screen at the Detroit Film Theater is back. The theater, located inside the DIA, will reopen on October 15th after being shuttered for 19 months as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The film kicking off the 2021 fall season is a documentary about influential psych rock band The Velvet Underground, directed by Todd Haynes, known from Far From Heaven, I'm Not There, and Carol. There will be 4 screenings over 3 days, beginning with a 7 p.m. showing on October the 15th, opening day. Tickets for the fall season are on sale now. Starting in November, the Detroit Film Theater will return its family series on Saturday afternoons with matinees of animated films from all around the world. While the theater was closed to the public, it offered virtual screenings via its DFT at Home program, screening about 100 films over the past 19 months. Some of the virtual programming will remain in place, said officials from the Detroit Film Theater. As with many cultural institutions reopening to the public, there will be COVID-19 protocols in place for the Detroit Film Theater's patrons. Guests will be required to show current photo ID and proof of vaccination for each screening. A mask will be required to enter the theater and must be worn throughout each screening. The theater, built in 1927, can seat up to 1,050 people, but seating will be limited to just 300 for each of these theater events. Learn more about that by viewing this article from the Detroit Free Press on our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, where you can find all of our articles we post each and every day here on the Megacast, as well as those very helpful links for important, accurate, factual COVID-19 information from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the state of Michigan's Health and Human Services Department, the Oakland County Health Division, and many of our local municipalities right here in Oakland County in our coverage area on all of our many outlets that you can find more information about, of course, on civiccentertv.com/megacast. We have a great Friday edition of the Megacast ahead for you today. At 10:20, we'll be joined by Molly McDonald, the founder of the Pink Fund. 10:40, we'll be joined by Keith and Melanie Libra. They are the owners of Time Blaster Toys, located in Westland. Then, in the 11 o'clock hour, the executive director of the Michigan Marijuana Regulatory Agency, Andrew Brisbo, will join us on the show. At 11:20, Hadar Grenadier, the president of the Michigan chapter of the Friends of Camp Mak-A-Dream, will join us on the program. And then we will cap off the week at 11:40 with our final guest on the Megacast this week, Aaron Schey, the director of Habatat Galleries and which is America's first contemporary glass art gallery and the largest glass art gallery in the United States that is located in Royal Oak. All of that is coming up next. You are watching and listening to the Megacast.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Founder of the Pink Fund, and joins us once again on the Megacast. Molly, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So for those that are unfamiliar, maybe this is the first time they've heard of the Pink Fund. They haven't watched our previous interview with you about the Pink Fund. Tell us a little bit about the organization and what it does to help people in our community.
So basically, the Pink Fund is an organization that works in the space known as financial toxicity. If you think of toxicity as a financial burden when someone is undergoing cancer treatment, many women and some men in treatment for breast cancer are unable to work and they lose their working income. And often that will cause them not to adhere to their treatment protocol, which affects their long-term survival. So at the Pink Fund, we step in and provide up to 90 days of non-medical financial aid by making payments to their creditors for housing, transportation, utilities, and insurance. And by removing that burden from them, they're able to focus on their treatment. And that provides them with one less thing to worry about.
Of course, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is oncoming, and the Pink Fund is kicking off Breast Cancer Awareness Month on Friday, October 1st, with Dancing for Survivors. It's a dance party at Campus Martius Park in downtown Detroit. Molly, tell us a little bit about this event, and how it was organized, and what people can expect if and when they do attend that event on October 1st.
So we're inviting the public to come down free of charge to Campus Martius from 11 to 1 p.m. on Friday, October 1st for a dance party. Ben Sharkey and his septet will be performing a number of Motown tunes, and we also have a DJ, Invisible, who will perform a series of various songs that people can just come out and dance and celebrate. You know, we've all been kind of held in our homes and not able to get out in public as much as we'd like, and so we wanted to kick off Breast Cancer Awareness Month with dancing. Also, Fred Astaire Dance Studios and their professional dancers will be performing. And dance has been proven to boost everybody's mood. You listen to the music, you move your feet, you have to concentrate. It's just really a celebration to begin the month. Nationally, we'll be working with dance studios and others who want to raise money through dancing, either by putting together TikTok videos, and just to raise awareness that while in active treatment, many individuals lose their income and are unable to work, and then that, as I said earlier, affects their ability to adhere to their treatment protocol.
We're joined by Molly McDonald. She is the founder of the Pink Fund with us on the Megacast. And so you mentioned part of the reason why you hold an event like this right now, trying to bring people back together in some way or some form, give people a fun outlet to express themselves, to communicate with other people after the isolation of the past year and a half. Now that it's a little bit safer than it was a year and a half ago to do something like this. But what else was the motivator behind this? Why a dance event, and why right now?
So we used to have Dancing with the Survivors, and that was an in-person event, and we can't do that anymore. So we just really wanted to invite the public to come down, as I said earlier, at no cost to them, to celebrate and dance and just have fun. I mean, breast cancer is a very serious disease, but it has a high rate of survivorship. We thought also there'll be some other of our partners down there, Ford Warriors in Pink, Shirts Brewery. A few others will be down there talking about the work that we do and the work that Ford does to support our program. The money from Ford that they donate through their Warriors in Pink program goes to support transportation payments solely. And apart from that, since we can't hold our nice event, our in-person event, we wanted to really just make people aware that this is a big problem for cancer patients and what the Pink Fund is doing to address it.
And how has fundraising been during the pandemic? Because in many ways, people were more strapped for cash during the last year and a half than they were before, and then they maybe are right now because of job losses or because of other extenuating circumstances, or trying to just save up in case things got any worse than they were at one point or another. Did that impact fundraising efforts for the Pink Fund, and then how would that, if that did impact it, impact the services provided?
So actually, we expected a 30% drop in revenue. We did not experience that at all. We've seen a lot of individuals and for-profit companies pivot towards our mission because we are essential to people completing their cancer treatment without interruption. And so we have met our budgetary goals for 2020, and we're on target for 2021. And in fact, this year we expect to make $1 million in bill payments, whereas last year I think we were at about $780,000 in bill payments. So we've seen an increase, particularly in the corporate partnership world, where they may have been supporting other important cancer research organizations. Now they are pivoting to support the Pink Fund's mission.
We're joined by Molly McDonald. She is the founder of the Pink Fund, joining us on the Megacast. Learn more about the Pink Fund and its event coming up on October 1st, Dancing for Survivors at Campus Martius Park, by going to their website at thepinkfund.org. That is, again, thepinkfund.org. And Molly, you're the founder of this organization. What prompted you to lead an organization like this, to create an organization like this, to help so many people who have been affected by one of the many burdens of a bout with cancer?
So I was diagnosed with breast cancer at a time of job transition, which basically derailed my job opportunity and left me unemployed and unemployable for 6 months while I underwent treatment. And without my income and the addition of a $1,300 a month COBRA premium, our family experienced what is now called cancer-related financial toxicity. I couldn't make my house payment. I had been through a financially devastating divorce. I had no savings, no alimony, and very sporadic child support, and now no job. So within 3 months, our home was in foreclosure. And in 6 months, I'm standing in line at a church basement to help feed my children through a pantry, a Gleaner's Food Bank pantry. And while I was in active treatment, I met many other working women like myself who were on unpaid leaves, who had much more aggressive and longer term treatment protocols than I had. And they were thinking about stopping treatment, which is not a good idea, so they could go back to work. Would they have to sell their home? Should they dip into their retirement savings and pay the taxes on that? Do they bring their kids home from college? And so I met with the social worker where I was receiving treatment, and I asked if there was any organization that could pay a non-medical bill, and particularly for me, my COBRA premium. And she just looked at me with a blank stare. And so I thought, well, if I can't get help, maybe I'm supposed to give help. And that belief that I could do it fueled me, and my husband and I got started. And the first year was 2007 that we were able to give out grants, and we were giving out about $2,000 to $3,000 max a month in bill payments, whereas now we're doing $85,000 a month. So in 2012, we went from being a Michigan-only organization to a national organization with the help of Ford Warriors in Pink as a corporate partner. So that's how it got started. And interestingly enough, some of our funders have said, well, why aren't other people doing this for other types of disease states or other types of cancer? And I tell them, well, I'd be happy to let them R&D our program, which is rip off and duplicate it. But and I'm happy to give them some advice. And so there's a website called Givesly where you can sign up to have a 30-minute conversation with me by making a $100 donation to the Pink Fund. And then I will share all my knowledge with you so that you can start something similar if you so choose.
We're joined by Molly McDonald. She is the founder of the Pink Fund with us today on the Megacast. Find more information at pinkfund.org, where you can learn more about all the work that the Pink Fund is doing. And they're doing amazing work. Since 2008 through 2020, 2,626 grants awarded. And just in the fiscal year of 2019 to 2020, $806,000 worth of financial aid was distributed to people dealing with cancer all across the U.S. It's not just a Michigan-based organization anymore, as Molly had said. And Molly, how critical is the work that the Pink Fund does to helping people survive cancer? Because in one way, they're surviving physically, where you either beat the cancer, it's in remission, or you're able to live with it to some extent because it's not deadly. But on the other hand, it's a financial burden that not a lot of people can live with because of the state of our healthcare system here in the U.S.
Well, the real issue is really when one cannot work because of the treatment protocol. So you physically, maybe emotionally, mentally, you cannot perform your job. And so without your income, then you go into financial free fall. So what we learned in a 2017 survey we conducted nationally is that 41% of patients did not adhere to their treatment protocol when they had to make a choice between a house or car payment or going to treatment. And patients are most concerned about their home going into foreclosure or evictions. And we know that those have been forestalled somewhat during COVID, that the government has helped out that way. But when people think that they might be homeless, then they will go back to work and they'll risk their health and their survivorship. So that's what we say at the Pink Fund is, while fighting for their lives, many people lose their livelihoods and face the potential for catastrophic financial losses. So that would include, as I mentioned earlier, foreclosure on a home, an eviction, a vehicle repossession, utility shutoffs, and then homelessness. And eventually, in the most egregious of cases, when people do not adhere to their treatment protocol, they are at risk for earlier mortality.
We're joined by Molly McDonald. She is the founder of the Pink Fund, joining us today on the Megacast. Learn more and donate at pinkfund.org. That, again, is pinkfund.org. pinkfund.org. And Molly, how do people go about receiving the grants, receiving the financial aid from the Pink Fund? What goes into that process? How much can people apply for? Does it vary case to case?
So the first step is when you go to our website, you click on Get Help. And there are 4 pre-qualifying questions that you must answer. One of them is your household income at or below 500% of the federal poverty level. And that chart is right on our website. Are you or your spouse or partner unable to work while you are in active treatment? So we've recently added in, it used to be that only the patient could demonstrate a lack of income, but now their spouse or domestic partner can show that they're unable to work. And that's primarily a result of COVID, with so many individuals unable to work or being furloughed from their jobs. So if one adult in the household, spouse or patient, loses their income, they're eligible. Then is their household income at or below 500% of the federal poverty level? Are they in active treatment, which for our purposes is mastectomy, chemotherapy, or radiation? Then they give us their email. We email them the application. The application is color-coded with icons to make it easier to understand for people who are more visual learners. And then there are some videos on the website that will teach them how to fill out each page of the 6-page application should they not understand exactly what to do. So then they mail in the application. Currently, we do everything by mail or email. And it's processed by a patient navigator to ensure that all the supporting documentation is in the file. And then it goes to a committee of diverse individuals who work in threes to review the application. The patient will submit the bills they want paid, copies of the bills, not the originals. And then the committee will decide for up to 3 months how many of those payments we're going to make. And then the next day, the patient is notified what payments are going to be made on their behalf. We include the name of the creditor, the account number, their name, the mailing address, and we ask them to confirm all that. And then those payments are made. We also have a fund for women with metastatic disease who are going to be in treatment the rest of their lives and are going on to Social Security disability. We'll make their payments for up to 6 months while they're in the wait period for SSD, where they cannot show any working income.
We're joined by Molly McDonald. She is the founder of the Pink Fund, joining us today on the Megacast. And Molly, the financial struggles of dealing with cancer go beyond the end of treatment. How long does the Pink Fund provide funds that would then be able to support these patients that are dealing with the financial struggles of with cancer?
So it's 3 months. And we call it a financial bridge. And then after that, we refer them to other organizations that might help them cobble together additional support. That's one of the struggles we have. We'd love to add a 4th, 5th, or 6th month onto our program, but we just don't have the funding to support that.
We're joined by Molly McDonald, the founder of the Pink Fund. To learn more information, donate, and join them for their live programming on pinkfund.org. And Molly, over the pandemic, a lot of organizations began to go from having in-person events or doing a lot of in-person supports to switching to virtual. I see on your website that you've been holding virtual support over a Facebook Live series. Is that series still ongoing? And if so, what does it feature and how can it help people that may be dealing with financial struggles of dealing with cancer themselves or a loved one?
So a lot of that material on the Facebook Live is still relevant. We are not doing that again this month or in October, but it's around how do you optimize your insurance. It's around health literacy. How do you understand some of the terms that are thrown at you as a patient? It's around support, where else to get support, and just how to manage that cancer journey. I do want to say that we recently conducted a study with the University of Michigan around financial toxicity and the gaps that patients identified. And one was at the beginning of treatment, they want clarity as possible on the expected costs and timeline of their treatment protocol so that they can plan financially. And we're going to start addressing some of these gaps that patients have actually identified. And then we'll be doing that through either a podcast or an Instagram Live or a Facebook Live in the coming months.
We're joined by Molly McDonald. She is the founder of the Pink Fund with us today on the Megacast. Molly, just a few more minutes with you. before we'll say goodbye. Is there anything else that would be important for our audience to know, either for themselves or for their loved ones, if they're dealing with the financial struggles of dealing with cancer, or more about your organization that would be interesting for us to know at this moment in time?
Well, I think the most important thing is we are going to be doing more outreach in the Michigan community in underserved areas, both in urban and rural areas, to try to give information to patients, the health navigators, the social workers, the discharge nurses, even the surgeons, who are the first ones to see the patient after they've received a positive diagnosis of breast cancer, to let them know of our service. Because we really want to be able to help more women here in Michigan in particular. And we do have restricted funding for Michigan. Some of our grantors want that funding restricted by state, and we honor that. And so as part of that, we're going to be doing a lot more in the community, probably through Zoom education, because we really can't be walking into hospitals right now and holding events. As you know, as you've said, all the in-person inside events are being canceled. So we're looking forward to addressing those gaps. I mean, I told you about they want clarity at the beginning of treatment. They want a discussion early on about how finances can affect their treatment. They don't know who to seek out in the healthcare system to find the resources, and then they don't know where to seek out community support. So we will be bumping up our website to be more robust in terms of where else can you go for support besides the Pink Fund. We want people to get the support that they need. It doesn't all just have to come from us. There are other organizations, both here in Michigan, that provide parts of some of the support that we do. Maybe they'll help a patient for 1 month. Maybe they'll provide a grocery card or a gas card. And the unfortunate thing is that the patient has to cobble together these multiple resources, going down lots of rabbit holes to find out what they need. And we're hoping to make that easier in the future by having maybe one portal on our website, one single application, and then that can be sent out to all the organizations that might be able to provide support for them.
Molly, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us and telling us all about what the Pink Fund is doing to help people who are dealing with cancer and families dealing with cancer right now all throughout Michigan and the U.S. And for telling us more about your event coming up on Friday, October 1st. That's 11 o'clock to 1 p.m. At the Campus Martius Park in downtown Detroit. We appreciate your time.
Yep, we want to turn Detroit pink, so come out.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council.
As partners working together to protect our water resources, we agree.
Pet waste is the source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment.
Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
So pick up pet waste and trash it.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line, for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe here in our studios in West Bloomfield Township, alongside with our studio producer and board operator Calvin Brown, who joins me here each and every day, Monday through Friday, on our live shows from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. On the Megacast, learn more about all the places you can watch the Megacast live and listen to us live by going to our website at civiccentertv.com/Megacast. You can also find all of our interviews on demand and our full episodes on demand there as well. Well, from Pokémon to Polly Pocket, this Westland business is taking your love of games and entertainment back to the 90s, 80s, and other decades as well. We're pleased to be joined by Keith and Melanie Libra. They are the owners of Time Blaster Toys in Westland. They're with us now on the Megacast. Thanks for being with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Appreciate having you on. So tell us a little bit about Time Blaster Toys, because this is a unique toy and entertainment store in comparison to your average toy store or entertainment store anywhere in our local area.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess the goal is when you walk in that front door that you're kind of blasted back in time to when times were simpler. Maybe sometimes in the 80s or the 90s, we have vintage toys, we have modern toys, you know, things that you maybe necessarily haven't seen in a long time. When you come into our store, you're going to see it. It's going to bring back a good memory of when you were young.
So where did the idea for this store come about? Because it's truly unique and it's very different from the average toy store or entertainment store.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been selling toys online for about 8 years now, and it just kind of started with the things that I was interested in, which was, you know, wrestling toys or superheroes or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And, you know, over the last 8 years, I've noticed, you know, I'm not the only person that thinks that way. There's lots of people, you know, that grew up in the 80s and 90s that want to reconnect with the things they had when they were young. And I mean, there's a whole community of people online on Instagram and Twitter that think the same way. And it got to the point where our house was pretty much overrun with toys. And my wife here decided, you know, she gave me the old boot to the butt and said, why don't we open a store and see what we can do? And that's what we're doing.
We're joined by Keith and Melanie Libra. They are the owners of Time Blaster Toys in Westland. They are open Wednesday through Sunday. Wednesday and Thursday, their hours are 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Friday through Sunday, 11 a.m. Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then Sunday, again, it's 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. They're located on Joy Road in Westland, Michigan. And they join us today on the Megacast. So what are some of the favorite classic toys and classic forms of entertainment that people often are seeking when they come into your store that you have available?
Yeah, when you first walk in the door here at Time Blaster Toys, the first thing you see is a giant Ninja Turtle van from the 80s, and kids are able to ride that for free. And then just past that, we have our VHS wall, and people really spend time there before they even walk into the rest of the store where the items are for sale. Ninja Turtles, like I said, is a giant hit here at Time Blaster Toys. He-Man's another big one. Those are the biggest sellers. And then wrestling. Wrestling's huge. Modern day wrestling and old wrestling as well.
We're joined by Keith and Melanie Libra. They are the owners of Time Blaster Toys, located on Joy Road over there in Westland, Michigan, joining us today on the Megacast. So you also have games as well, and I know I read an article that I mentioned that you have games like NBA Jam. You actually encourage people when they're in the store to take a gander and go ahead and play some games there. Are people able to come in and play some of these games as well, beyond just, for example, NBA Jam, but some of the other games that are available at Time Blaster Toys?
Absolutely. We invite people to do that. And even during the summer, we had quite a few local kids come in, buy a pop, sit down, beat the high score, get on the high scoreboard. So we're really trying to build a community here, not just come in, buy a toy, but come in, hang out, learn about us. Let's learn about you. And it's been wonderful. We're
joined by Keith and Melanie Libra. They are the owners of Time Blaster Toys joining us out of Westland on today's edition of the Megacast. You can find this entire interview on demand later on civiccentertv.com/Megacast. And one of the great things about this store is not only does it provide that look into some of the nostalgic past of many of our people in the millennial generation and in Generation X as well, it also is great for collectors who are looking for those special items that maybe they're not able to find anywhere else. I know on our staff we have one staff member who is a big Pokémon fan. Her favorite Pokémon is Combuskin because it rhymes with her last name. And so have you found that over the course of the pandemic that people have been more apt to engage with your store because of the collectible aspect of that, as people have been getting more into their hobbies?
Absolutely, 1,000% yes. Honestly, the last 2 years, I think with the lockdown and people being stuck at home for such a long period of time, you know, you have time to think about when life was simpler or when you were younger, and you know, think about the things that made you happy. And I think a lot of people have turned to collecting kind of as an escape. And yeah, it's been crazy, the amount of people, new collectors of all things, trading cards, toys, collectibles, you name it. There's people out there. And online, for sure, you're going to find like-minded people that like what you like. And once you know even just a few people that have similar interests, it'll really jumpstart your want to collect.
We're joined by Keith and Melanie Libra. They are the owners of Time Blaster Toys in Westland. You can find them at 38403 Joy Road in Westland. Their hours are Sunday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. They're joining us today on the Megacast, again, from Time Blaster Toys in Westland, where really every element of your store is kind of a blast from the past. I was even reading that your bathrooms even have a little bit of a 90s theme to them.
Yes, blood, sweat, and tears went into that bathroom. We've got, for the Pokemon fans, our floor is Pokemon cards with epoxy over the top so you can walk right over them. A lot of holographic ones. We've had kids come in there and be ecstatic and happy. We've had kids go in there and be very sad and upset that those cards were underneath epoxy. But yeah, and we've got some slime drips. Everyone's welcome to sign the wall as they come through the store. We have a bunch of black walls leading to the bathroom and in the bathroom. And it's just kind of a fun, interactive thing to build on that community feel.
So you opened earlier this summer. And opening any store, especially a retail store like yours during the pandemic, or something that's also so interactive during the pandemic, couldn't have been an easy feat. How are you able to manage a successful opening and then on top of that gain that momentum that new businesses really need to get off of their feet while dealing with the challenge of the COVID-19 pandemic?
So to us, and you can jump in here if you want, but I feel like we knew that we were going to be okay regardless of whether we had people walk through that door or not. Because it was an eBay business and established there, this could just be an expensive office. But we knew also that we had something, and we knew that people were reminiscent of the old times and the simpler times like Keith was talking about earlier. So we just threw it all in and we said, let's see what happens.
Sorry.
You go ahead.
I mean, with people being at home for so long, you know, almost a year, we just had a feeling, you know, people want to surround themselves with others and things that, you know, remind them of the past. And we knew, you know, there's people that want to come here, they want to talk, they want to discuss their loves, their hobbies, their passions, and we're here to talk to them about it. And there's plenty of people in here all day long. We've seen friendships formed already in the store between us and customers and customers. So it's just, you know, it was a long time coming. People want to be around other people, and we're providing a space for that to happen.
And what's great too, Keith, is that you know, there are a lot of people, much like yourself, before you open the store, that have a lot of these collectibles and a lot of these different nostalgic pieces in their home, and they're looking to either get rid of them or they're looking to exchange them for something else. And what's great about Time Blaster Toys is that not only are you selling a lot of these products that you're able to find or that you had possessed, you also will buy and will trade products as well, correct?
Yeah, correct. And that happens every single day. I've met so many people in the last few weeks coming in with all sorts of different things. And yeah, that's what we're here for. We'll buy, we'll sell, we'll trade. we've had collectors come in. Maybe they are no longer interested in, Batman, but now they're going to, start a Ninja Turtles collection, for example. And we'll provide the space to make that happen. We'll trade your stuff, or we'll give you cash so you can walk, anywhere, go online and buy what it is that you're currently collecting.
We're joined by Keith and Melanie Libra. They are the owners of Time Blaster Toys out in Westland, Michigan. You can find them on Joy Road over there in Westland, where they have a number of upcoming events, including next week, Wednesday, October 6th, from 10 until 10:30 a.m., where they will be having Tap Mango there over at Time Blaster Toys. Then on Saturday next week from noon until 5, it's Jurassic Park is coming to Time Blaster Toys as well. Tell us a little bit about some of these upcoming events that you have, and what genres and what different themes will be featured in these events.
Yeah, so the Jurassic Park event on the 9th from 12 to 5, we are going to have the gigantic Jurassic Park entrance leading right into our store. We'll also have a Jungle Explorer along with the Jurassic Park Jeep and little Triceratops rides for the kids. It's free to take pictures as much as you like. If you'd like to get into the vehicles and hear some of the different sound effects that we have a $5 Jurassic Park pass that's ready for purchase, and we'll have different blind bags and things with all sorts of really cool Jurassic Park gear.
Yeah, that event's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of people that really love Jurassic Park, kids that love dinosaurs, and these are screen accurate vehicles. So the Jungle Explorer, the whole top of it is clear, just like in the movie. We're going to have a photographer on a ladder taking photos from the top through the roof while you're driving the vehicle. It's going to be really, really cool. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, a lot of cool events that are coming up over there at Time Blaster Toys for people with a number of different interests, and for those that are looking to get into a bit of the spookier season here in October as we get closer to Halloween. The Saturday before the week, the Saturday the week before the weekend of Halloween, you're having a Beetlejuice bingo night. Just don't say Beetlejuice 3 times consecutively, and you'll be fine there as well. That is, of course, from 8 p.m. until 11 o'clock p.m. there as well. You can learn more details about that at timeblastertoys.com. We're joined by Keith and Melanie Libra. They are the owners of Time Blaster Toys with us today on the Megacast. Keith, Libra, we have just a couple more minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that would be interesting for our audience to know, or important for our audience to be looking out for over at Time Blaster Toys?
Well, I mean, we set some things out on this table that we just kind of wanted to show everybody, types of things that we'll buy and sell. And sure. Check this bad boy out.
Oh my.
It's a Nintendo action set. 100% complete, in working order, beautiful. We all remember this with the gun, with the duck hunt. So we do deal with video games. Vintage and modern, we have... Is anyone else familiar with this Turbo Man doll?
I'm not. Neither is Calvin, no.
Oh man, you guys need to go. You need to watch the movie Jingle All the Way.
Oh, never mind.
I'm gonna have to put that on. Okay, so now he's familiar.
That's a '90s classic.
Well, that just rang the bell for Calvin. I'll have to put that on my list. Jingle All the Way. There you go. There's Woody. Yes, I dressed up as Woody for Halloween in preschool. That was interesting, and my family loves to bring that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times.
We got the old Batmobile. This is from the 1989 movie, the Tim Burton Batman movie. Mm-hmm. Very cool toy. But we've got all sorts of stuff. This is another real big popular toy from the 90s. Does he look familiar at all?
He looks a little familiar, and I'm just blanking on the name.
Oh, he's from a line of toys called Street Sharks. So they came out in 1995 by Mattel. Really popular, lots of people wanting to go back and buy those and reconnect with their past through toys. And I mean, that's what we're here for. We just want everyone who walks in the door to have a good time. I love seeing parents come in, grandparents come in, and I'll talk to them and I'll say, I bet you that's not the first time you've bought that before. And they'll tell me some story of how their son really wanted that Power Rangers figure at Christmas '94. And it's just really cool. So,
we're joined by Keith and Melanie Libra. They're the owners of Time Blaster Toys out in Westland. And Keith, when you showed me the Nintendo action set, it just kind of jogged my memory, because recently I got down the YouTube rabbit hole of watching videos of people restoring classic consoles. And so I was wondering, with you having the Nintendo action set there, do you also have other classic consoles, or maybe even restored consoles for people that might have those old games, but they got rid of the console at some point because it was broken down?
Right. We have a few. We don't have, video games is hard. We had a Super Nintendo complete in box, but it sold almost immediately. Video games are so popular. We have a few pieces, hoping to get more. So if any of the listeners out here have some old vintage video games they no longer want, you're more than welcome to bring them here. We'll give you a fair amount of money to purchase them and, sell them to people that want them.
And if you're looking for them, keep on the lookout at timeblastertoys.com and give them a call and see over time if they are able to get one of those. Maybe you'll be there right after they get one and be able to pick that up. You can find all the information on everything that they're doing, again, at Time Blaster Toys. Keith, Melanie, anything else for us today before we'll say goodbye?
No, just thank you so much for having us. If you're interested in spending time in something that reminds you of your mom or grandparents' basement plus an arcade, this is the spot for you.
Yep, for sure.
We appreciate it.
No, we really appreciate it. I mean, I guess I'd just say to all the listeners, timeblastertoys.com is our website. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Find us. We can start up a conversation. We'll talk about anything you're interested in because we love talking about it too.
Yeah, and they do have a little bit of everything over there for all different interests. We appreciate your time. Thanks, Keith. Thanks, Melanie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keith and Melanie Libra from Time Blaster Toys. They're the owners of Time Blaster Toys out there in Westland. Again, you can find their store at 38403 Joy Road out there in Westland. Their hours are Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday, 11 to 6, and then Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. Learn more about their events, learn more about their products, get in contact with them to ask about some of the things they may have there if you're looking to purchase, or what they may be willing to do in terms of maybe buying some of your classic games and other toys as well. By going to timeblastertoys.com. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we'll kick off the second hour of the show by speaking with Andrew Brisbo. He is the Executive Director of the Michigan Marijuana Regulatory Agency, or MRA. We'll talk to him about Michigan's ever-growing marijuana industry and how that's being regulated at the state government level. That's coming up next as we head into the second hour of the Megacast.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
To Sophia and Gabriel, even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe alongside our studio producer and board operator Calvin Brown in our studios at Green Media Center located on Walnut Lake Road in West Bloomfield, Michigan. You can view us each and every day live from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on our flagship stations at Civic Center TV and 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, your radio home for the Megacast. We're also on the radio on 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills, or 88.1 The Biff, celebrating its 45th year on the air as of today, October 1st, 2021. It went on the air first on October 1st, 1960. 76. Learn more about all of our partnering television, radio, and other media outlets by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you can also find all of our interviews and full episodes on demand, because we know it's tough to tune in for a full 2 hours every single day, Monday through Friday, when you're in the middle of the work week, you're taking your kids to school, you're doing other things around the house and around the community. It's tough to give us 2 hours to listen to our show. That's why we post it online. So you can take any 2 hours that you have at civiccentertv.com/megacast, or just a few 20-minute periods here or there for the most interesting interviews that are catching your eye and are interesting to you and to your life as well. We're pleased to kick off this part of the show by being joined by Andrew Brisbo. He is the Executive Director of the Michigan Marijuana Regulatory Agency, or the MRA, and he joins us now on the Megacast. Andrew, thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure. Good to be with you.
So the MRA oversees much of the Michigan marijuana industry. Can you tell us a little bit about what exactly the agency oversees in terms of the marijuana industry in our state?
Sure. So here in Michigan, we have a centralized focus when it comes to licensing and regulation of the industry. A lot of states put pieces of it in various different agencies, and I think our approach makes us a little more flexible and dynamic when it comes to addressing what is a flexible and dynamic industry. But we have all components within our agency, which includes the patient and caregiver registry that's been around since 2008, 2009, as well as the licensing and regulatory programs for medical and adult use businesses in the state. So we issue them licenses, renew those licenses. We write all the regulations surrounding the commercial aspects of the industry, and then do oversight as well, including field investigations and inspections, legal hearings, the full gamut. It's all up to us.
We're joined by Andrew Brisbo, the Executive Director of the Michigan Marijuana Regulatory Agency, joining us today on the Megacast. What are some of the programs that are in place through the agency to ensure the safe and the proper legal operation of marijuana businesses in the state of Michigan, but also to provide potential marijuana business owners, cannabis business owners, with opportunities to begin their business here in the state of Michigan?
You know, and our agency is focused on exactly that. In many places, you'll find regulatory agencies that issue licenses and ensure compliance. That's the beginning and end of what they do. I think because this is a new industry in Michigan, and because it's making a transition from being prohibited legally for 90 years and now moving into a legal and regulated space, it's incumbent upon us to serve a role as being almost an educator about how to do things in a way that complies with the law and provide opportunities for businesses to do things in the right way. And I think by and large, I've been very pleased and impressed that the vast majority of business operators want to know how to do things the right way and are willing to comply if they can just understand. So our agency's really taken a focus of educating before we regulate, giving opportunities for compliance. And as long as we can fulfill both arms of our mission, which are protecting public health, safety, and welfare, then we also want to ensure the businesses can grow and succeed in the state, bringing in tax revenue and good quality jobs to the state. So in doing that, we have background investigative responsibilities to determine eligibility for licensure. We set testing standards for all the products that are available through the commercial market, so we can ensure that they are as safe as possible for consumer consumption. And then we do other things like regulate advertising and packaging and labeling to try and ensure that products don't end up in the hands of minors, which is a core tenet of what we do. And you'll find that throughout the country as well, because we are still talking about controlled substances and regulated products. So we need to make sure that those are in the hands of eligible consumers, whether those are medical patients or adult use consumers. And then to further opportunities for those that have been most disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs, we do also have a social equity program that looks to identify individuals who were incarcerated for marijuana-related crimes or come from communities where that prohibitionist mentality was most impactful, and try to benefit those communities and find ways to leverage the program to provide opportunities for those specific individuals.
We're joined by Andrew Brisbo. He is the Executive Director of the Michigan Marijuana Regulatory Agency, or the MRA, with us today on the Megacast. And Andrew, just for those that maybe are not familiar, what goes into the, you mentioned the background checks, but beyond that, for these business owners as they are applying to comply with the state of Michigan and begin their marijuana businesses, what steps are they going through in order to, beyond the background checks, in order to not only establish their business, but also to ensure that they are following the laws of the state of Michigan and ultimately keeping the communities that they are safe in, safe as they're operating these businesses?
Well, this is a complex business environment and is also a very strictly regulated industry. So I won't lie, it's an undertaking to initiate a business in this space. Business operators are going to face the normal sort of trials and tribulations of establishing a new business as you would in any industry. You have to find capital, you have to find a place to operate a business, form a corporate structure. But in this space, it can be completely different than any other business environment. Say, for example, when you're deciding what business structure you want, you have to take into account that this industry is still federally illegal. And there are pretty strict tax implications when it comes to the federal tax rates when you're doing something that is not legal at the federal level. And one other interesting piece is we do issue state licenses, which isn't uncommon. Lots of industries are regulated. But in this space, you also have to have local approval as a prerequisite for getting state licensure as well. So municipalities, many municipalities in Michigan do not allow for these types of businesses. So a business operator has to find an accepting municipality. And in those accepting municipalities, many of them have a limited number of licenses or have a limited number of properties that will meet with the zoning requirements. And obviously then those properties that are appropriately zoned are going to go up in cost. So trying to figure out how to compete and get your foot in the door at the local level is something that is relatively unique to this industry and can be a challenge then in pursuing a business opportunity.
We're joined by Andrew Brisbo. He is the executive director of the Michigan Marijuana Regulatory Agency, joining us today on the Megacast. And you mentioned some of the challenges for these businesses, particularly on the tax side of things, navigating the fact that that marijuana is still federally illegal. What challenges are faced at the state level in terms of regulating these industries, moderating the industry across the board in the state of Michigan as well, being that it is legal here in the state of Michigan, but it still is federally illegal?
I think the biggest challenge we face is just this concept of having a legalized marijuana industry is brand new to all of us and has only been done by some other states, and even those other states just before Michigan started pursuing this as well. So when you look to expertise to ensure that we're fulfilling our responsibilities to ensure consumer safety, who do you turn to when no one's really done this before? So we've relied a lot as we built out the program on leveraging the expertise of counterparts in other states, such as Colorado and Oregon and Washington and California that started this process before we did. But in all honesty, we're all working together when it comes to addressing existing concerns and the new evolutions of a rapidly maturing industry. And one of those challenges in particular is the fact that with the status of marijuana being illegal federally, there's not a lot of, say, public health research being done. And a lot of the sort of standards that states would normally rely on the federal government to provide are absent in this space. So that requires us to look and see if we can find analogous standards at the federal level and adopt them. But then you have to build in your own expertise in order to apply them. When we think of things like food safety requirements, or for the purposes of medicinal cannabis, what the standards that would normally be applied by the FDA to say, pharmaceutical products. So states are sort of left to their own devices to figure that out, and that can be incredibly challenging. So we're having to really learn as we go, be a good partner with industry so that they're sharing information and working with us to identify issue areas to ensure consumer safety.
We're joined by Andrew Brisbo. He's the executive director of the Michigan Marijuana Regulatory Agency, or the MRA, and he joins us today on the Megacast. If you're just tuning in, you can find this entire interview on demand later on this afternoon at civiccentertv.com/Megacast. And Andrew, as we continue to see this industry develop in the state of Michigan, we have to look into the past where it was illegal statewide here in Michigan, where marijuana was illegal statewide, and looking at the opening of many of these businesses. There are so few of them that are black-owned, that are owned by black, indigenous people and people of color as well, who disproportionately in the past were those that were affected by arrest and incarceration for the illegality of marijuana at the state level. What's being done in terms of social equity and not necessarily correcting that wrong, but adjusting the situation we currently have with our industry to make it more equitable for people across the board in different demographics?
Well, I would say first and foremost, a package that recently passed the legislature called the Clean Slate Package provides an opportunity for individuals who have marijuana convictions on their record to have those records expunged. And I know that process is going through now, and there are a lot of groups that are helping individuals who were so affected figure out and navigate the process for getting those records cleared up. So that's a good step. At the agency level, evaluating the current market and where we can provide opportunities for, say, minority-owned businesses, how we can look at the communities that are most impacted by the war on drugs. That's what we're doing through our social equity program. So in that program, we provide fee discounts, direct services with our agency to help navigate the licensing process. We've also recently developed what we call the Joint Venture Partnership Program, which is a means by which we're connecting businesses that want to help have those similar impacts and the individuals who suffered from those impacts to work together to establish business partnerships so that they can find some mutual success. And in identifying the communities that we are part of our social equity program, we looked specifically at data on conviction rates within those communities as well as poverty rates, so that we're offering those services and those discounts to those individuals who were most impacted by the prohibition era of marijuana.
We're joined by Andrew Brisbo. He is the executive director of the Michigan Marijuana Regulatory Agency, and he joins us today on the Megacast. And Andrew, before it was ultimately voted to decriminalize marijuana at the state level by the public, marijuana was previously permitted for medical usage as well. And there's currently a big caregiver industry as well within the marijuana industry in the state of Michigan. How is that overlooked at the MRA level to ensure that these caregivers and growers are also being regulated and are doing things by the book and are ultimately doing the best that they can for their patients and not putting them at risk?
So it is a much different system. So the legalization for medical use, which allows for patient use and for the use of caregivers, was passed via ballot initiative back in 2008 in a similar way that legalization for adult use was passed through ballot initiative in 2018. However, the agency's oversight of commercial operators in both the medical and adult use market is a true regulatory program where we issue licenses and we have oversight and we set standards. Well, when it comes to the caregiver side, that is simply a registry program. So a patient who has a qualifying condition is allowed to designate a caregiver, grow plants on their behalf and possess marijuana, but the agency doesn't have authority to oversee the grow operation. So there's no inspection of the grow operation or the plants, and there's also no authority to set standards for testing the product. So caregivers do have access to the state license labs if they want to test their products, but it's not mandated. So I would say when it comes to developing a program around consumer and patient safety, that's on the agency's shoulders in the commercial market, but we do not have that authority outside that market.
We're joined by Andrew Brisbo. He is the executive director of the Michigan Marijuana Regulatory Agency, or the MRA, with us on the Megacast. And same question in terms of marijuana grow facilities as well, because some of these are more manufacturing-like facilities, and others are simply just grow operations at a local level. So there is a little bit of a scale from one side to the other in terms of the size and ultimately the scale of these grow facilities. How is that overlooked at the state level? And then how is the MRA then partnering with local municipalities as well to help them in terms of what they need to do to regulate the marijuana industry in their communities?
So municipal control is largely at the front end. They have the ability to set parameters on where these businesses might be located, how many they want. When it comes to ongoing oversight, particularly for standards of grow operations, that's really almost completely at the state level. And you're right, we have grow operations of a variety of sizes, as small as 100 plants in the state and as big as 40,000 plants within the facility. So a wide range of types. The agency sets standards that we believe are sort of the baseline that's necessary to ensure consumer safety. So we apply those pretty uniformly across the board. We limit what types of pesticides and fungicides and insecticides can be used so the plant material isn't contaminated. And then through the testing process, whether that's flower that's going to be harvested and sold as is, or whether the plant material is going to be processed into other manufactured goods like vape carts or infused edible products or concentrates. We have testing panels that apply to all those types of products. And then the licensed third-party independent labs do the sampling engagements and run the tests on those products. And the products can't be sold to consumers then unless they pass those tests. So there's really a lot of strict oversight when it comes to how products are produced and how they move through the supply chain as well.
We're joined by Andrew Brisbo. He's the Executive Director of the Michigan Marijuana Regulatory Industry with us today on the Megacast. And Andrew, there was an interesting story earlier on this summer that was published by the Michigan Cannabis Manufacturers Association. It said that the business of growing and selling marijuana in the state of Michigan is now worth about $3.2 billion. But it also said that nearly half of those sales are from illegal sales and that 2/3 of the market is still unregulated. And of course, that's their own metrics. Those aren't necessarily entirely factual, at least from the state's research, but that also brings up questions of potential for untested products or public safety concerns as a result of that. How is still the illegal market in the state of Michigan, the unregulated market, the market that's not being taxed through the state of Michigan, how is that being addressed both by your agency and by law enforcement at the state level? Is that a partnership? Are there individual parts that go into that?
That is a complex issue because illicit activity has persisted in every state where there's a regulated market. And I think that's true in other industries as well. I think one primary goal the agency has is to engage in our responsibilities as efficiently as possible so that we can issue licenses to businesses and provide access points to interested consumers across the state so that they don't turn to the illicit market. And trying to convey and educate consumers about the benefits of utilizing the regulated market, specifically, like we talked about before, the testing standards and ensuring that products are as safe as possible for human consumption, I think is critical, and making sure consumers are aware of that the only place that they can validate that is through this regulated market. The analysis that was done by that trade association, I think, mirrors some of the data that was provided through an economic analysis that we commissioned a few years ago as well, which indicated that the market in Michigan would grow to be about $3 billion in retail sales every year. In 2020, we had about $1 billion in the regulated market, and I think this year we're going to get closer to $2 billion. So I think we're making progress in that objective in terms of providing access to consumers through the regulated market. When it comes to illicit operations, we do work closely with our partners at the Michigan State Police to identify any of those concerns, take complaints, and do investigations about illicit market operations to ensure that those aren't allowed to persist. But it is challenging because we have a lot of gray area in the law. And when we talk about illicit operations, there are some that are just completely outside the boundaries of the law. But there are also individuals who have legal coverage, say, for growing plants at home, but aren't allowed to sell anything that they produce to anyone else. So there can be some illicit activities that are tied to what started as a legally permissible operation. And in evaluating those concerns and investigating them and taking appropriate action, that can be very challenging, especially with the myriad law enforcement priorities that exist out there, and the fact that in many cases, taking any action is really up to the prosecutor in the specific county on whose desk that investigation ends up.
We're joined by Andrew Brisbo, the Executive Director of the Michigan Marijuana Regulatory Agency, with us today on the Megacast. Andrew, we are out of time. Just have another minute or so with you today before we'll have to say goodbye. And is there anything else at this moment that would be important for residents of the state of Michigan to know about the regulation of the marijuana industry in the state of Michigan, changes that are forthcoming or adjustments that are forthcoming at the agency level?
Well, as I said, there's always a lot of changes that are in process because this is a very dynamic industry, and we're learning things as we go and developing, new regulations and new processes that the agency oversees. Again, I would just encourage consumers to be educated on where they're sourcing their products and understanding the benefits of utilizing the regulated market to ensure the safest possible access. Individuals who want to know more about what the agency is doing can go to our website at michigan.gov/MRA. We recently published a new page called the Consumer Connection, which has information that's specifically geared toward consumers regarding what the agency does, as well as some general information about the markets and marijuana products in general. So I think it's very important in this new space to be educated about what the laws are, what the products look like, and just recognize that there is a regulatory body here to help address any questions should consumers have those.
Well, Andrew, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Andrew Brisbo, the Executive Director of the Michigan Marijuana Regulatory Agency, joining us on the Megacast. Learn more about the MRA and all of its work by visiting the state of Michigan's website at michigan.gov. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we'll be joined by Habatat Grenadier. He is the president of the Michigan chapter of the Friends of Camp Make-A-Dream, and he'll be joining us next to talk about Camp Make-A-Dream on the Megacast.
It's the Great Lakes water, and so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and then they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes. They stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe here in our studios in West Bloomfield Township, where we broadcast live every day from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. Join us on demand on your time, anytime at civiccentertv.com/Megacast, where you can also learn more about all of our partnering television, radio, and web outlets each and every day. And if you're out and about, you can join us online at civiccentertv.com or on our Facebook pages, facebook.com/CivicCenterTV15 and facebook.com/LakesFM. We're pleased to be joined now by the president of the Michigan chapter of the Friends of Camp Make-A-Dream. Habatat Grenadier joins us now on the Megacast. Thanks for being with us today.
Good morning.
Appreciate having you on. So tell us a little bit first off about Camp Make-A-Dream. It's a really great program, and people may not be aware of exactly what it is. So give us a little bit of an overview of just what Camp Make-A-Dream is and what it provides to kids across our state.
The camp is one of the very few camps in the country that will receive children or young adults with cancer or those that are in remission. It's a cost-free camp. It costs the children and young adults absolutely nothing to attend the camp. The only cost that's actually that comes into play is the cost of getting the kids to camp. The camp was started by my brothers and his wife, Harry and Sylvia Grenadier, in 1995, and we sent over 6,000 kids to the camp. He realized at the time that being the fact that the camp was in Montana and we live in Michigan, so did he at that time, that it was very costly to send the kids, and knows that many of the families cannot afford that additional cost. So he started another chapter in Michigan whose sole purpose is to raise money for the transportation of kids from Michigan, and we send between 75 and 80 kids every year when camp is in session. And these kids are ranging in age from 6 to 21 years of age. We also at the camp have a very, very, what I feel is special, unique situation, which a lot of camps don't have. When you have a child in the family who's got cancer, it has a great effect on all the other children also. So we have sprinkled in between sessions a special week for siblings. Whether it's one sibling in the family or two, we send them to the camp also at no charge. And this gives them a chance to talk to other children and young adults who are in a similar situation. And we find out that they share a lot of the same problems in terms of maybe not getting as much attention as they want, being felt left out. So we feel that we cover the whole gamut. And we're also one of the few camps that will take kids who are in treatment. We can't, of course, can't do much for kids who are using radiation, but if it's oral medication they're on, we have a small 6-bed infirmary at the camp, and we also have doctors on duty 24/7, plus nurses. So, and they even have a helicopter pad because Montana has a total population of only about 800,000 people, and there aren't a lot of hospital facilities who can handle situations when a problem arises with a kid who has cancer. So we have the availability of getting a helicopter in and out, and it's only happened in the 25 years 2 times. So that's a pretty good record, I think. But the kids go there and they come back with the same feeling, or almost like a universal feeling, that they realize now that there are a lot of people out there just like themselves. When I first started going out there, I thought I would find a bunch of kids who were down and out and not having a lot of optimism or a lot of confidence, but I was totally incorrect. There's one story I have to relate because as an example of what goes on. We had a young man out there. In fact, my son, Brian, was the counselor at the time, and we have a U.S. Army erected a ropes course for us. And he kept looking at that ropes course, and he wouldn't do it, and my son didn't force him to do it. It's a voluntary thing. But by the 3rd day there, he decided he wanted to do it. And he was able to, by the end of the week, to do about 3/4 of the course. And he said, when I go home, I'm going to tell my mother that I want to disconnect my morphine pump that was attached to my side because I can defeat cancer without a lot of pain medication. And that's a story that resonates with me every time I go out there. These kids are confident, they know they're going to defeat it, and a lot of them want to become doctors. So that gives you an overview of what the camp is, and the beginnings of it, which is I think is a phenomenal story. My brother Harry was in the Navy, and his brother Charlie was in the Air Force. One was a bombardier, one was a pilot. And when they got out, they went into the garage building business, and then eventually Harry was going up north to his place. He had a cottage up in Mullet Lake. And he passed a place, the kids, he has 5 boys, and they're in the back seat yelling and fighting like boys will do sometimes. And they were hungry, so they pulled into a place called McDonald's, which he had never heard of before. And after feeding his entire family for $10, he decided that this is the type of thing he wants to get involved in, so he bought a franchise. As a result of it, he was very involved in the helping build the Ronald McDonald houses in Ann Arbor and Detroit. And afterwards, he said to himself, this is a great place for parents who have sick kids, but working kids go to have fun. And that's when he decided to take 87 acres of his ranch in Montana. And at the age of 80, he started building this ranch and raising money. And we opened up in 1995, and that's the gist of the story. And like I say, in Michigan, we raise money. We have a major event every year at the Somerset Mall called Cookies and Dreams. Mm-hmm. But because of the pandemic, it's been we can't gather. We usually get 400 to 500 people come there, and as a result of that, we can't have it. So we decided to come up with a sort of a side issue or side event called Cookies and Dreams on the Go. And we are advertising our bags of cookies for kids for people to buy, and they'll just drive by and we will hand it to them. And this way we avoid the problems with the pandemic. And it's been very successful also, not as successful as our major event, but it's a wonderful source of raising enough money to get the kids to camp. That's the general story. And like I say, it's amazing to me how these kids are not, many of them have no hair and they come with a limb missing, but they form these partnerships with these kids, and because of the internet, they formed. In the old days when I was a youngster, we had pen pals. Now they have these pals that they have on the internet, and they remain friends, and they can see each other, and they help each other through crisis because they can talk about the crisis they have because they know it's an honest. They'll get honest answers, and that's the whole story. And I'd be glad to talk on it some more, but I have a feeling you have some questions you want to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. We're joined by Hadar Grenadier. He's the president of the Michigan chapter of the Friends of Camp Make-A-Dream with us on the Megacast. And this program, nearly 30 years running at this point, not just over 25 years at this point. It's been running since 1995, as you said. And it's a really great program, and provides these great opportunities for these kids to have some fun, to take their mind off of what, for anybody, a battle with cancer can be a really tough time of their life, and it's a struggle, and it can be depressing, and like dealing with any medical issue, and especially for children who don't really understand, why is this happening to me? What am I going to be okay? And then thinking about their loved ones and their friends in the event that things don't go well. This is a great program, and there's so much that they're able to experience that maybe otherwise they wouldn't have been able to, and it kind of gives them that positive light. But it's so extensive. And you fund that all through fundraising. How much effort goes into the fundraising for this to provide these free opportunities to these kids?
It's amazing, but when people learn about the camp, we have no problem getting volunteers. We actually have no employees. Where everything is funded, or everything is done by the board, and we have some young people on the board, some a little bit older, more mature, who have experienced some of the events we've done, but we have no problem at all getting people to volunteer to help us raise the money. My job is being the senior member of the board. And I've been on the board now for 22 years. I am looking for donors. I contact foundations, but it really has not been a problem in the past until the pandemic hit to get, because of our major event, which was at Somerset, called Cookies and Dreams. Now that it is no longer there, we sort of have to keep pushing and getting ourselves in the front of the public's eyes, like we're doing right now, to make people aware that it's a cost-free camp. It costs the kids nothing. If you find this is interesting that you want to know more about the camp, we have a wonderful website that you can go on to, and it's just go on to Camp Mak-A-Dream Michigan chapter, and it tells you all about the camp. It tells you about our events. It tells you how to donate to it if you so desire. But we really have no problems getting people involved, because once they hear that what it's about, it seems whenever you get a children's event coming up, or a children's type of a thing that requires people to get involved in, we have no problem. We have people from Grosse Pointe, as far as Grosse Pointe, on our board, all the way up to Grand Rapids. So it's not a problem getting volunteers. It's just. And we have no trouble getting kids. Every hospital is aware of us, and most of our kids come from Oakland, Detroit, Wayne County, but we also have a good number coming from Grand Rapids. And we've had kids come over from France and other parts of the world. When they hear about it, they just have a means of getting here, because once they get here, there's no cost for them. So it's not a problem raising the awareness of it, but we can always use more awareness. We were just honored by the Michigan Jewish Sports Hall of Fame. We got the Barry Brummel Award for humanitarian events, and so that part is easy to take care of.
We're joined by Hadar Grenadier. He is the president of the Michigan chapter of the Friends of Camp Make-A-Dream, joining us today on the Megacast. And in terms of families who have children that are dealing with a battle with cancer, how are they able to gain access to these free programs? Do they apply for it? Are they found by the organization? How does that work, and what's the process for ultimately getting these kids this great opportunity to have these fun, life-changing experience with other kids that are going through a lot of the same experiences that they are?
That's a great question, and an important one, because I think if we didn't talk about that, I would be remiss. We are strictly the fundraising portion of the camp. Our board does not run the camp, because and my brother Harry was smart in doing it, because he realized that you can't run a camp being 3,000 miles away. So there's a very active board in Montana. You go to the Camp Make-A-Dream Montana website, and there's our applications to apply. Once a child or the young adult applies to camp and is accepted by camp, then they're asked about their financial ability to get to camp in terms of what the costs involved to get for transportation. And if they are from Michigan, then they're automatically told to contact our board, and then we take it from there. But you have to be accepted by the Montana board first, and there almost never been a rejection. They're always, no matter how, we've had young people who are coming there on medications and missing limbs, and they have to have special vehicles to get them from the airport into the camp, and never been a problem. Just apply to the the Montana board of Camp Make-A-Dream. It's on the internet there. It's very obviously separate from ours. You make application. They start accepting applications in January, and the camp runs from about June 20th until the end of August, and they're all 1 week sessions. The reason we try to end it in the middle of August is because Montana has these fires that are very dangerous in the latter part of August, so we don't want kids there whose breathing has been affected. So we try to end the camp in the middle of August. But in between those weeks or 8 sessions for the campers, we also, like I said before, have weeks for siblings. So they also apply to Montana, and once they're accepted, if there's a financial need and they live in Michigan, we help them out. I would say maybe 10% of the kids who go, their parents want to pay for it. They don't want to accept any kind of a help with the transportation. We've had kids from parts of Detroit and other areas in Oakland and Wayne County who don't even have the means to get to the airport. We've had some kids come on the plane who didn't have any clothes, and we didn't realize any backup clothes. So we send, we make allowances for those things. We send more money to camp, and they buy them clothing there. So we try to really make it as easy as we can. But the first thing you got to do is go to the Camp Make-A-Dream Montana website and apply there. But that happens starting in January, and they're really, really hoping that this year they'll be able to open up. Last year they couldn't because of the terrible problems with the health issues. But this year we hope that things will be modified so we can actually send kids to camp.
We're joined by Hank Grenadier. He is the president of the Michigan chapter of the Friends of Camp Make-A-Dream, joining us today on the Megacast. Again, their website to learn more information, to donate, to find their upcoming fundraising events as well. That is campdreammich.org or campdreammish.org, where you can find the Friends of Camp Make-A-Dream's Michigan chapter and on their direct website. Also, they have a great fundraiser coming up that they're deeming the sweetest fundraiser in Metro Detroit, and boy, will it be. That is Saturday, October 16th, from noon to 4 p.m. at the Orchard Mall, and that is their Camp Make-A-Dream Michigan chapter. It's thrilled to bring back their drive-through fundraiser, Cookies and Dreams. Again, Saturday, October 16th, from 12 noon until 4 p.m. Hadar, just another minute with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that would be important for our audience to know right now about Camp Make-A-Dream and the ways that they can help provide these great opportunities to these kids?
I would actually. I just wanted to bring another point that I forgot to mention. Sure. I apologize. The best, most hospitals who have a pediatric oncology department have what is known as the life specialist, and the life specialists are the people that actually act as the intermediary between the physicians and the patients. And they are the ones, believe it or not, who are our best boosters for the camp, because they know which families need this type of camp. There are some families who are financially well off that don't have to worry about a camp of this sort or take their kids to other places, and it isn't a problem. But there's many, many families out there that can't afford because the medical bills are such a tremendous burden. So if you have a child or know somebody who has a child that has cancer, have them check with a life specialist who at the hospital, and they are also a wonderful source of helping the family. Many families don't even have a computer, of walking them through the process of applying for camp. And that's it.
Well, we appreciate your time, Hadar, and appreciate you giving us all this information about the history of Camp Make-A-Dream, what it currently is providing for kids with cancer, these great opportunities, and ways that people can engage with the organization and help them out as well. We appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome. More information again at campdreammich.org. campdreammich.org. Pleased to be joined by Hadar Grenadier. He is the president of the Michigan chapter of the Friends of the Camp Mak-A-Dream with us today on the Megacast. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we'll go from a unique camp and a unique opportunity for children to unique art here in the state of Michigan, when we'll be joined by Aaron Schey. He's the director of Habatat Galleries, which is America's first contemporary glass art gallery and the largest glass art gallery in the United States that's located right here in our local area in Royal Oak. Aaron joins us next here on the Megacast. You're watching and listening to us on our family of TV, radio, and other media outlets.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe, alongside our studio producer and board operator Calvin Brown in our studios in West Bloomfield Township. And of course, we are pleased to be joined by so many different great artists over the run of our show, and unique artists as well. And one of the most unique artists we've ever been joined by is Aaron Schey. He is the director of the Habatat Galleries, which is America's first contemporary glass art gallery and the largest glass art gallery in the United States, located right here in Royal Oak. Aaron, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Luke. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about the art gallery. What kind of pieces are featured there? Obviously, they're all it's all glass art, but what are some of the different kinds of pieces that people may find? They're looking to put some unique art into their home, into their business, and want to engage with this local art gallery that is very unique here in the state of Michigan.
Well, thanks. Yeah, we are the oldest and largest, as you said, and when you walk through the doors of our gallery here at the edge of Royal Oak in Michigan, it is life-changing. The gallery offers work by the most talented artists from around the world. This particular artist behind me, Alex Bernstein, is a second-generation artist from North Carolina, while others are all the way in Australia, Japan, Czech Republic, Sweden, everywhere in the world. So when you walk through our doors, you're going to see the best of the best. And it takes a certain lifestyle and education to really appreciate art in general, and this is a small niche, but it is the fastest growing. Many museums in the area, like the Institute of Arts, the Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation, even Toledo Museum, as well as the Fort Wayne Museum in Fort Wayne, Indiana, have all expanded recently, showing more and more glass because it's a way of approaching artwork for a new generation. The way the NFTs have blown up online for even younger people, glass has become more and more exciting today.
We're joined by Aaron Schey. He is the director of Habatat Galleries, located in Royal Oak, and he joins us today on the Megacast to join them for the ongoing Glass Art Fair 2021, which is running now through October 23rd. This is also an online event too, Aaron, correct?
Correct. A lot of the artists couldn't come in or send work in because of what was going on. So we gave them a platform, which is the glassartfair.com, which is an online website to see many of the artworks virtually that are in the show. We advise people heavily to come into the gallery to really experience it in person because it's so much better, but you can get a grasp of the amazing talents. Everybody has their own unique style of creating artwork. And there's a whole history, the studio glass family tree of like who studied under who. This whole thing started in America in 1962 in Toledo, Ohio by an artist named Harvey Littleton, and his students trickled down from there. And you can really follow along with this narrative as each artist's develops their own techniques, and you can see it all both in person, in museums, and virtually.
We're joined by Aaron Schey, director of Habatat Galleries, America's first contemporary glass art gallery and the largest glass art gallery in the United States. It's located right here in the local area in Royal Oak, and he joins us today on the Megacast. And you're also, in 2021, your art gallery is promoting a year-long glass competition that's featuring 12 artists who have pushed beyond the norms of the contemporary art world. Tell us a little bit about this competition and some of the interesting art that has been featured in this competition so far.
So yes, this competition is called Not Grandma's Glass, and it's focused on artists that are not in Grandma's art collection yet. And during the pandemic, I realized there's a ton of artists that we couldn't show, and this gave them a platform to really create their own experience online and give a talk. We do Zoom talks like this every single Saturday, and the first of every month around then is a talk of Not Grandma's Glass. So there are artists that create works that you wouldn't see normally in a museum, because we have an artist named Chad Fonfero who does these dead birds, an artist named Morgan Peterson who does pop art, focusing on music artists that she's experienced in her career. Metis Cookie, who creates trash glass, things you take for granted that are now laid out in the streets, are now a fine art. And as of tomorrow, we're visiting an artist named Dean Allison, who creates the most amazing bust out of glass ever seen. He does commission work. He does children and grandparents all around, and he's going to give us a talk tomorrow. And he just completed a piece, or was close to completing a piece that took him an entire year to make, focusing on an African-American girl blowing glass and giving a respect to her towards a full-blown organization, which is great. So join us tomorrow to see that.
We're joined by Aaron Schey. He is the director of Habatat Galleries, America's first contemporary glass art gallery and the largest glass art gallery in the United States, that's located right here in Michigan in Royal Oak over in Oakland County. And it's also starting in January of 2021. So yeah, that's where that competition began. You can learn more at notgrandmasglass.com. And Aaron, I want to talk to you about glass art, because every form of art, whether it be a visual form of art, whether it be media art, whatever the case may be, they all have their special elements that make them unique, that make them interesting, either visually or by texture or by touch, by any other sensation. Why is glass art so special? What is unique and special about glass art that for you and for others makes it so interesting and appealing?
Great question. It's the only medium you can do anything to. All the other techniques you can apply to other mediums like paintings and castings of bronze or metal or carving in wood, you can do all that stuff to glass. You can work on it hot. You can work on it cold. You can smash it up, glue it together. You can paint one side of it and then paint it again and see the original side on the first side you painted when you look through the glass on the other side. The medium itself allows for many, many artists to develop their own techniques. There's a lot of science and chemistry that goes along with the medium, because you have to know certain temperatures or how much weight or strength the glass actually has to create what you're looking to expect when you come out with it. It's a whole learning process. People spend a lifetime getting to where they are today before they show up in our gallery. There are artists like Ann Wolf, who have just retired at age 90, who creates huge cast glass pieces focused on family, home, and nature. And she's got there over a whole lifetime getting to that particular point. And it's quite an amazing work to see. And this stuff, again, is show-stopping and life-changing. This piece behind me, I think, is like 32 pieces that establishes a glass city. It took them a while to figure out how to get those different things to appear in the glass rather than just melting into a pool of glass on the bottom of the kiln. So it's an incredible field to be part of, and it's an amazing amount of talent in it.
We're joined by Aaron Schey. He is the director of Habatat Galleries, which is America's first contemporary glass art gallery. It's also the largest glass art gallery in the United States, and it's located right here in Royal Oak. They got an ongoing glass art fair going on. It is the Habatat Galleries Glass Art Fair 2021, running now through October 23rd. They got some really interesting artists this weekend and events this weekend virtually via Zoom. Join them Saturday at 1 o'clock via Zoom on their Habatat Zoom with Dean Allison, the Menon Collection, live at Fort Wayne with Steve Lynn, NGG September with Joseph Ivicic, Glass Art Fair preview, as well as the Jewelry of the Zodiac. All those are virtual events as well, so you can join them for those. You do have to RSVP for some of them, including Not Grandma's Gallery featuring Dean Allison, but that's all at glassartfair.com, where you can learn more about that and see some of that art and engage with them. So what can people expect from these virtual events this weekend for the Glass Art Fair? What do they typically experience when they do attend one of these virtual events?
Sure. So you can see a lot of the details. A lot of things you mentioned already are pre-recorded and up right now on our YouTube page. You can get to it from habatat.com, our regular website. But you get to dive into the artist's life. You get to experience what they do, how they create stuff, what their vision is, and it takes an amazing person to become an artist and sacrifice your life to create and give away everything you create. This particular artist, Dean Allison, is an amazing talent who really dives into the life of people around him, children. And the piece he's just finishing up now, which I'll give you a preview of, is the story of his daughter looking through a window at his dying aunt who's dying of COVID, that experience where she couldn't get close to see the family member as she was going close to pass away. And he made this entire thing out of glass, along with a window, along with a wooden chair that sits in front of it, that you're supposed to experience the same kind of feelings both of them had as the child and the adult going through that kind of narrative. So you really have artwork that really speaks to people on a certain level that tugs an emotional tone. Here at the gallery, we actually have a lot of work by Dean Allison on display that you're welcome to come see. We're actually celebrating 50 years of Habitat. This is our 50th year being in, and there is an amazing display here in the gallery to come see that's open through October, as you mentioned. So you'll see Dean's work, as well as many others who are part of the Not Grandma's Glass show here, as well as artists that won't really qualify that are part of Grandma's art collection on display, a variety, well over 400 pieces on display in the gallery. And also we have something called the Vault, which opened up this year, which is a large back room. And I call it a back room, but it's really a back warehouse. And it's an opportunity for people who make appointments to come and see the treasures that art galleries have in the back. And it's also another life-changing experience, because there is an incredible amount of inventory that we're willing to share with the world.
We're joined by Aaron Schey, he's the director of Habatat Galleries, and he joins us today on the Megacast. It's located at 4400 Fernley Avenue in Royal Oak. Their hours are Tuesday through Saturday from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m., but you can also join them online for their Glass Art Fair 2021 by going to glassartfair.com, where you'll also be able to learn more information about Not Grandma's Glass, the show which shows the art world that is changing and is featuring some great artists in a competition in this year as well, and that's also able to be accessed virtually. And so, Aaron, just a few more minutes with you before we go. You're the director of the Habatat Galleries. It's America's largest glass art gallery. It's located right here in Royal Oak. But for you, what interested you in glass art? Are you yourself a glass artist, and if not, what draws you to this art?
So when I was a child, I blew glass here in Pontiac at Albert Young Studio, local artist, and it was hot and it hurt. And it took a real appreciation to get the idea of people who can create this kind of stuff and create these incredible works every day. And for me, it was a family business. My stepfather, Ferdinand, founded the gallery in 1971, and they needed someone to come help with when I started in 2005 with the details and inventory preparing for their large international show. We actually had our 49th year of our international exhibition, which is on glass49.com still, that people can go explore and see the artwork from that show. And so over time, people develop relationships. You start to learn about the artists, the people, the clients. We call ourselves a Habitat family, which are people who are involved in this art world. And there's no other medium out there where people have such a community of support for each other. People who love glass, people who love the artists, people who share their collections with the world and collect and kind of checklist off the artists they're drawn to. Art is a very unique topic for people because it's very personal. People need to acquire and buy things that they love and enjoy. You're giving up your time, your money, and your space in your home to enjoy these artworks. And when it works out, it's a life-changing experience. There are a lot of clients who come in and don't know what's going on, want to learn. That's what we're here for. We're here to show you and talk to you about, the artists that are in our community, the people that create the artwork and then try to find what your tastes are. You may like this behind me, you may not like it. You may want a more authentic figure piece. There are artists like Dale Chihuly and John Kuhn, who are the most well-known glass artists in America, and there are artists in Europe like Berta Volin and Lubinsky Braktova, who are the most well-known artists in Europe. So between the two of them, you start to figure out what you like. And from there, you start to learn, again, who studied under who and what artworks you're drawn to. There's an artist in Seattle named Raven Sky River who makes the most amazing sculptures out of hot glass, representing the sea world, giant sharks, huge turtles, even mollusks and clams and seahorses. He's worth checking out on Google. Google Raven Sky River and check out his work. We have 3 pieces on display here: a giant whale, a giant turtle, and a giant fish that are just incredible in person. I have no idea how he makes them. Just goes to show the lifetime effort he's put into creating artwork from his own techniques over time. And he's still working today. A lot of our artists are. There are, and you get to meet them in person. A lot of them come to our big events here. We had 2 big events in this month of September. We had a 3-day weekend for those who wanted to come in from out of town. We had a great event here, lots of space and safety precautions in place. We went to the Flint Institute of Arts to check out the display there. We did a scavenger hunt there to explore the museum in a new way. We had an auction that was very, very successful, selling work in the secondary market. So, and then the public opening was a week later to separate it, and that was great. We had a huge turnout of people. We had the whole parking lot decked out so people can come to the gallery and go hang outside, and people got to experience the glass in person, which is something we haven't done in a while.
Well, Aaron, we appreciate your time. Thank you for telling us all about Habatat Galleries. It's really a unique gallery that people can visit right here in our local area in Royal Oak. Thanks for your time.
You're most welcome. I look forward to doing this again. Take care.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Aaron Schey, the director of Habatat Galleries located in Royal Oak. Big thank you to him, to Molly McDonald, the founder of the Pink Fund, Keith and Melanie Libra from Time Blaster Toys in Westland, Andrew Brisbo from the Michigan Marijuana Regulatory Agency, and of course Hadar Grenadier from the Friends of the Michigan chapter of Camp Make-A-Dream. All of our guests on today's edition of the Megacast. Also a huge thank you to our crew each and every day. Today it's a real skeleton crew. We got Calvin Brown, our studio operator and board operator, studio producer, here with us in the studio today, and nobody else we have outside the studio, but we do have Luke Walters as well today, filling in for Larry Nyland as our Zoom producer. And big thank you to Luke for joining us today and getting all of our guests in comfortably. Big thank you to you as well for tuning in, and if you missed any part of our show, you can view us on demand anytime on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, and then over at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. Of course, there's all those important links for information you need to know that's factual and accurate about COVID-19 from researchers on the front lines and medical experts on the front lines from the CDC, the state of Michigan, Oakland County, and more. On Civic Center TV, coming up, it's The Splash with Maddie Mustian. On My TV, it is Steve Leto Live, and we will be back Monday live at 10 a.m. Thanks for tuning in.